Good afternoon, everyone. It is 12:58. We'll get started here right at 1 o'clock. All right, it's 1 o'clock. We will go ahead and get started. Thank you, everybody, for attending today's training. It's going to be on a USDA milk update, food and production records, and inventory. I am Rachel. I am one of the education consultants here with the state of Louisiana. And if you have any questions throughout this presentation, please go ahead and put them into the Q&A, and then we will answer them as quickly as we can. So as always, here is our non-discrimination statement, and we are an equal opportunity provider, employer, and lender. And then everybody should be muted. They shouldn't be able to unmute yourselves or turn on microphones. Like I said earlier, please enter all of your questions into the Q&A. The chat should not be an option for you, but just in case it is, please try to put it in the Q&A, as that is what we are monitoring. So first thing, USDA updates. On May 8th, 2026, the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Food and Nutrition Service published the final rule expanding fluid milk options in child and nutrition programs. And this goes into effect on June 8th. What this final rule does is that it expands the options of milk to serve children participating in CACFP programs ages 2 and up. So starting June 8th, for ages 2 and up, you can serve any fat level milk. So that could be skim, 1%, 2%, or whole. 1-year-olds are still required to have whole milk. And nothing changes with flavored milks or milk substitutions. So if they are receiving a milk substitution, it still must be nutritionally equivalent to that cow's milk, or have an explicit statement from that medical provider stating what they need else. But you can serve whole milk to everyone, 1 year and older, or 2%, 1%, or skim to ages 2 years and older. KidCare has let us know that they are working on implementing the changes to the milk audit system. So hopefully that should be a pretty smooth transition for you. But for that first week of June, make sure we're still doing the 1% or skim for ages 2 years and older. And then starting that second week of June is when we can serve whole milk to everybody, or 2% to ages 2 years and older. The next update we have a couple of items from us. So the new free and reduced applications, keep an eye out on our website. We will let you know when these are posted, but the new free and reduced meal applications should be posted around mid-June. Don't have an exact date yet, but keep an eye out for those because we are getting those ready right now. And then I want to share with you all our new resources website. So for many of us, whenever we go to look for the new free and reduced meal applications or policy updates or any other kind of resources that we provide, we go to the login page for the CNP website and then click on this memos and resources button. This button, memos and resources, will be going away soon. So we have replaced it with a much better option on the Child Nutrition Program landing page. So this is cnp.doe.louisiana.gov. It is one step before you were to go into the login portal. On this page is where you're going to find all of those resources. You will scroll down to this more information section and then click on resources. From there, you will see there is a lot of different resources here. It's everything for our school system, our summer feeding program, and CACFP. So to make sure that we're just getting the ones that are related to CACFP, we have the search box here that you can narrow down everything that will pop up. So you can do it by resource type, but that will still include everything from all of the programs. Or I recommend doing it by program, clicking CACFP, and then hit search. This will pop up only resources or memos that are related to the CACFP program. Then from there, you can look by the different tags. So say we wanted to get some resources for program eligibility. You can go down here, you can click program eligibility, and then hit search, and it will pop up with all of those resources. Or if you know exactly what you're looking for, like you need to print out some more menu worksheets or food production records, you can just go to the search bar and look for exactly what you're looking for, like type in menu for those menu worksheets, and the 4-week cycle menus will pop up, or the menu production worksheets will also pop up. So like I said, that other location for those on the login page for the CNP website will be going away soon. So make sure you know how to navigate to find these resources, because when you need to get those updated free and reduced meal applications, you're going to have to go to the resource section, look up like the free and reduced meal applications, and they will pop up when we have them posted. Okay. Does anybody have any questions on the USDA updates or this resource library before I move on? Okay, great. Well, if you end up having any questions, please make sure to pop them in the Q&A, and then we'll get to them as soon as we can. But now we're going to move on to kind of like the meat and potatoes of today's presentation, kind of adding on a little bit more to what we did last time. During our last training, we went through a lot of different common questions and issues people have with kid care. But to jump on that, we wanted to dive in a little bit deeper into food production records and that milk audit and inventory, because we are still getting a lot of questions on those, and we want to make sure you'll understand what to do and what we're kind of looking for when we look at these. So in kid care, the first thing I'm going to show you is a couple of different tools that I'm not sure everyone knows that is available. One is going to be estimating our attendance, and kid care also has a feature to help us limit our waste by letting us know how much food do we actually need to purchase to feed all the kids that we are expecting to feed. Because I know as grocery prices continue to increase, many of us are looking at how can we make sure we're keeping everything within budget. So within Kid Care, there is an option to estimate attendance. As long as your menus have been put into Kid Care already, it will estimate how much food you actually need. To estimate attendance, you click on, you log into Kid Care, click on menus and attendance, and then daily menu. In the top right corner, there'll be a button for estimate attendance, and it will have a lot of different options for you. You can go through and manually estimate how many kids of each age range for each, breakfast, lunch, and snack that you might have. Or you can hit auto calculate and just say, you know what, I'm just gonna use last week. Last Monday, that's the normal amount of kids that I get every week. So I'm gonna hit last week's attendance. It's going to auto populate in here, and I can choose to apply it to just this day, or I can choose to apply it to the whole week or the whole month. I'm going to go ahead and apply it to the whole week because I know my attendance doesn't change very often. And you will get this pop-up right here that says, hey, are you sure you want to continue with this? You're going to apply this estimated attendance the whole week. Then you hit apply to week. And Kid Care goes as fast as Kid Care wants. But with this, as long as your menus are in, it will auto-populate how much you need for each item for each day. So you could look at this day by day and look at, okay, I need 13 and a half ounces, so 14 ounces of ham for this breakfast, 14 slices of bread for this breakfast. But Kid Care also will tell you that whole week at a time. So say you just want to know, like, how much milk do I need for that whole week? How much meat do I need to purchase for that entire week? Kid Care has a report for you to do that. So to find out how much you need for the whole week, you would click on reports. And just note that your screen may look a little bit different because this is a multi-site center that I'm in right now. So if you are a single site center, it won't look exactly the same, but it should be pretty close. Under category, you're going to click meals and attendance. And then you will click weekly quantities required. And then you put in the week that you're wanting to look at. So the week that I'm wanting to look at is going to be the 13th through 18th, 17th, and you hit run. Download as a PDF as soon as it finishes running that. So we're going to open this up, zoom in a little bit, and it will tell you, it breaks it down by the food groups like bread, meat, milk, vegetables, and fruits, and juice for each item that is on your menus that are listed. Bread can potentially be the hardest one to kind of use this for because it's an ounce equivalence. But the main two items, which tend to be two of the most expensive items, would be the meat and milk section. So this will tell me that, hey, I need 17 gallons of 1% skim. And 3 gallons, I need a little bit over 2 gallons for the whole milk. So I can know that when I go to the store, I'm not shorting myself, that I'm only getting 1 gallon of whole milk and 15 gallons of 1%, but that's what I normally do. But maybe it's summer and we have a few extra kids, so we add those into our estimated attendance and it will tell us how much we need. And then also for meat, it will tell you, okay, we're making something with sausage, we need 2 pounds of this pork breakfast sausage. Or we are making some spaghetti and we need 4 pounds of ground beef to make that spaghetti. And it will also tell you the same thing with how many cups of fruits or different vegetables or juices that you need if you have juice on there. This is just a really cool tool that I wanted to make sure everybody knew about, especially as we're trying to go, minimize waste as much as possible and kind of be a little bit smart with our budgets. But now let's say we have all of our attendance estimated. We, went and purchased, we used that, we went and purchased everything that we wanted from the grocery store. And now it's Monday and we're cooking and it's time to put in, so at the end of the day, it's time to put in those food production records, okay? With these food production records, one of the things that we always look for is that this estimated quantity required is not the exact same as actual quantity served. Because most of us are serving way more than those minimum quantities. And a lot of times we are not measuring out exactly 37 ounces of beef. We did 40 ounces, or we did 4 pounds. So we want to make sure that we're putting an accurate representation of the amount of food that we're preparing. So let's just do this whole day as kind of an example to show you. We're going to serve bagels and cream cheese with oranges and milk for breakfast. On this blue side, we'll hit the plus sign. And under bagels, I served a half a bagel with cream cheese to each kid because that covered the amount of grain requirement. I had 29 kids in attendance, so I served 14 and a half bagels. Okay, well, if I put 14.5 in here, I don't know what this servings means. I don't know what Kid Care is classifying as a serving. They don't have it listed. So we need to be a little bit more specific than that. So it requires some of these food items will require a little bit more footwork. So, well, like I said, I served 14 and a half bagels. So I'm going to go over to my bagels package. I bought these bagels from Walmart, and I'm going to look at my nutrition facts label. And I'm going to look at that one bagel was the size of one bagel was 85 grams. I served 14.5 of those bagels. So I'm going to take 85 and multiply it by 14.5 to get the amount of bagels I served in grams, which is 1232.5, 1,232.5 grams. And that is how I'm going to enter it into Kid Care because we don't know how many servings it is. You could do ounces if you wanted to, but then you would have to convert those grams over to ounces. But because the packaging was in grams, I'm going to choose grams to make it the most accurate. So I also am serving fresh oranges. Well, my fresh oranges don't come in a 12-ounce can. We have a lot of different options. They have packages, packets, pans, pieces. None of those are very, very specific for what it is. But at the grocery store, I know that I bought 6 pounds of oranges. So, and I prepped them all. So I'm going to go ahead and put in 6 pounds, okay? For my whole milk, I have 5 one-year-olds in attendance. And so my whole milk, I purchased that in gallons and I served 4 ounces to each kid. So I'm going to put in the total amount of cups I served, which is 2.5. Make sure it's on cups. For my 1%, I have half pints for the rest of my kids because it's just easier. So I served 23 half pints to all of my other kiddos, and you can choose half pints here if you want, but also you can keep it cups. Half pints are 8 ounces and cups are 8 ounces, so you don't have to change those. And then we're going to hit save. As you can see, the actual quantity served versus the amount that Kid Care put in, estimated that we needed, are very, very different. Because most of these kids, because I have a lot of 1-year-olds and 2-year-olds, they only need like a half-ounce serving of grains or bread at that breakfast, but I served them more. So we want to document what we actually served. Okay. For lunch, I'm making spaghetti with peas and carrots and canned peaches. So it's the same thing. If we put in 37 ounces here, I don't know anybody that weighs out 37 ounces to get that exact minimum. Okay. But I do know that I use that food buying guide. It said I needed 4 pounds of ground beef. I bought 4 pounds of ground beef and I cooked it all. Again, we want to be as specific as possible. So on here, packages doesn't tell me. I don't know if this is a 3-pound package, a half-pound package, a 1-pound package that Kid Care thinks it is. So I'm going to go with what is the most specific, which is going to be ounces, okay? So I'm going to take my 4 packages, which were 4-pound packages. So there's 4 of those, multiply it by 16 to get how many ounces that is, and that's actually 48 ounces. Next, I'm going to do, sorry, this is 64 ounces. I did my math wrong for incorrectly. I cooked 3 boxes of pasta. Each of my boxes of pasta weighed 16 ounces, and that one is 48 ounces. So I put that in here under 48. Then the next one is going to be peas and carrots. I bought 4 bags of frozen peas and carrots that were 12 ounces each from the grocery store. So again, I'm going to go back here, choose the thing that's most specific. So ounces, I'm going to take, so I've made 4 bags, take that 4, multiply it by the 12 ounces, the size of each of those bags, and I will get 48. I'm missing math somewhere. I did throw me off. Then the last, the next item is going to be canned peaches. I opened up 4 29-ounce cans. Those are those larger cans you normally get at the grocery store. And so I'm going to look through here. Okay, well, they do have some can options, but they have 12 ounce, 46, 49, or 6. They don't have that 29-ounce can. So I have 2 options here. I can either multiply 4 times 29 to get the number of ounces, or I also know that a 29-ounce can is a number 2.5 can, so I'm going to put that I had 4 of those. And the same thing with the milk. I served half pints to all of my kids 2 years and older. So I have 23, and I'm going to leave it at cups because cups and half pints are the same. And then for my whole milk, I served 2.5 cups. And hit save. Then the last item is going to be our snack. So for this one, I'm serving Teddy Grahams and watermelon. The graham cracker option in Kid Care is buy the crackers. It asks you, how many crackers did you serve? Well, I didn't want to count out individual crackers to all 39 of my children that I have today. So I bought 1-ounce bags of Teddy Grahams, individual portion bags, because I know that meets all of the grain requirements for every age group that I serve. So I'm going to change this over to ounces because each of my bags is 1 ounce, and I served 39 of them because each kid received 1 bag. And then I cut up a fresh watermelon for them. And again, we're going to look at what is most specific. So I'm going to go with pounds because I bought a 15-pound watermelon at the grocery store and I cut it up and I served all of it. So I'm going to hit save. So when we are looking at our food production records or the menu worksheets in Kid Care, we really wanted to be able to see and be able to tell that you're actually recording the actual amount you're serving. Sometimes there will be instances in which they might match. Maybe the milk might match exactly. Sometimes I've seen it where it lands exactly on 2 pounds of meat needed. You know, sometimes it will match up, but when every day is matching up and you have like the really funky numbers like 37 or 12.5 ounces, we know that you're not recording the actual amount that you produced and served. So just make sure, just kind of as an edit check, make sure we're actually recording the amounts that we're serving. And then now we're going to move on to kind of our inventory or our milk audit as well. So when it comes to our inventory, this should be done at the last day that you're open in every month after the last meal service. So an example of this would be for March's inventory, because I'm going to use April as my example. I should be conducting my inventory on March 31st after snack time and writing down everything that we have that is from the CACFP program that is left over for that month. We don't need necessarily like seasonings, but our food components, and especially milk. We want to make sure that we know how much milk is left over from the end of March, so we know how much milk we're carrying over into April, what is going to be our starting inventory or starting balance in April. And then we want to make sure that we're updating Kid Care with that number. Kid Care will build up these crazy numbers that all of us, I'm sure, have seen at the beginning, at the previous month carryover, starting beginning balance. Like right now, it's saying I have 47, almost 48 gallons of whole milk on hand and over 218 gallons of 1%. There's no way I have that much, at least not most of us. So making sure this is accurate, we want to make sure that the number that we have at this previous month carryover or starting balance in Kid Care for each month is reflective of what is on that inventory for the previous month. So we're going to take our March leftover numbers and we're going to go ahead and enter them into Kid Care. So on March 31st, I counted that I had a quarter of a gallon of whole milk left over to start Wednesday morning on April 1st. So to edit this, I'm going to hit this pencil right here, and I'm going to put in gallons how much milk I had left over. And then I'm going to hit this green check mark. If you just hit enter, it will not save, okay? And then, like I said, I do half pints for all of my 1%. So, well, Kid Care only gives us the option to enter this in here in gallons. So we have a few different ways that we can convert the number of half pints into gallons. But the easiest thing that I like to do is just Google cups to gallons calculator, because a cup is 8 ounces and a half pint is 8 ounces. So if I did that, and I typed in that I had 15 half pints left over, Google would let me know that I would be 0.9375 gallons. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit this green check mark and save that. You will notice now I have all of these errors in Kid Care saying, hey, you have a milk shortage that I didn't have before because I haven't entered in my receipts yet. But that's why this is so important. It gives us a much more accurate milk audit, because I haven't entered in any receipts. I haven't told Kid Care that I've purchased anything, but I needed over 44 gallons of 1%, and it was saying I was good. My milk audit was good. So we want to make sure we're updating this to be as accurate as possible. To help you out with this and maybe prompt some of us to remind us to do this, starting June 1st, this previous month carryover starting balance will automatically be zeroed out for you. So if you don't put anything in here, your starting balance will be zero. And so that for some of us, that might show a milk shortage on especially some of the first few days of a month. Hopefully that will help prompt us to remember, oh yeah, I need to go back to my March inventory and make sure I'm putting in my carryover. So that way I'm getting credit for the milk that I'm serving. Okay. That is all I have for y'all today. Was just kind of going over the milk audit, making sure we're putting in this food production records appropriately, and giving you a couple of updates. Does anybody have, does anybody have any questions about either putting in the milk inventory, your milk audit, or any updates?
As usual, today's training, give us a couple of days to send out your your clock hour certificates, your Louisiana Pathways clock hour certificates. And this entire training today, along with the will PDF, the PowerPoint handouts, will be available on LouisianaFitKids.com. Give us a few days to get that going also. So you guys have access to these recorded trainings at any given time. And you can replay them for your staff and use them as you wish. But only the individuals in the live presentation today will actually be receiving a clock hour certificate via the email that you registered with.
We will give you all back some of your day. But if you have any other questions, you think of anything, please do not hesitate to reach out. You have all of our contact information, and like Debbie said, go to the Louisiana Fit Kids website. We have a ton of really great trainings and recordings on there. And if you have any, suggestions or ideas for anything you want to learn a little bit more about, please let us know. Thank you all. Have a great day. I did just get a question asking, hopefully you're still here, Mariette. You can do grams and ounces. It was just that package was in grams, so it's a little bit easier. If you were looking at like sliced bread, for example, most sliced breads, as long as they're not extra large slices, are 28 grams or 1 ounce per slice. So in that case, you would just use ounces.